Okay, so we're officially recording. I'm going to put this onto speaker view. Again, try to make sure that everybody's just muted throughout this because it is being recorded. It is going to be action-packed. It is going to be a lot of just facts. Make sure to have a notebook and a pen nearby because you're going to hear a lot of crazy, fun, and exciting things tonight. I don't know why this is giving me a hard time. Of course it is, though, because I can't even see anybody now. Why are we on a notebook, guys? Oh, okay, so somebody was just sharing their screen. That was the issue we were having. I was like, what is going on here? Is this me? But it totally wasn't. Thank goodness it wasn't me. There we go. Okay, so let's get started. Like I said, I'm very, very, very pumped for tonight. Make sure to get notebooks out and ready. Continue inviting those people on your team. We are going to be taking this team on a massive, massive journey. We are taking every single one of you debt-free. If you want to go debt-free, you want to take your family debt-free, you want to take your business to the next level, drop the money emoji in the comment section below. If you're on a computer, just, use the money symbol, share, all of the money, because that's what we are here to talk about tonight. And we have an incredible guest, not somebody that, we've never spoken to before, not somebody from outside of this business, not even somebody from outside of this team. We have found somebody within our own team, our own family right here who has so much knowledge on this topic, has used it throughout his life and to teach it to others in his life. Please help me welcome Michael Bowman. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. If I'm not, please correct me, but please help me welcome him. Jennifer was the one who was actually talking to his wife, Carrie, at one of our events, and she started talking to her about going debt-free, and lo and behold, there's Michael, who is so knowledgeable on this exact topic and has used the Dave Ramsey plan like I said, in his own personal life and to teach it to other people. So I'm going to give Michael the floor right now to just introduce himself, let us know about his story, his journey, and what he's here to help us with today. Michael, you might have to unmute yourself. There you go. You got it.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
We're good.
So, as Hannah said, my name is Michael Bowman, and this past year I retired from 20 years of service with the active duty Army as a United States Army chaplain. So the way I came into the knowledge of all this Dave Ramsey stuff is that a higher ranking chaplain got Financial Peace University in to be used as a tool for chaplains throughout the U.S. Army. So for a while, and when I say a while, I'm talking 3 years-ish, every chaplain in the United States Army was trained in Financial Peace University and presenting it to soldiers. So that's how I started getting into this. The other thing that chaplains are required to do is that we take married couples on married retreats. So since we can't discriminate against the single soldiers, somebody came up with a bright idea of single retreats. Now for most chaplains who always want to present their religious bent, they take young, teens and 20-something single soldiers on a retreat and tell them to be abstinent in one way, shape, or form or another. And frankly, I got sick of that and started asking soldiers what they wanted and put together a whole different kind of program. And one of the things that the soldiers wanted was to understand a little bit about how money works. So the only thing I knew was Dave Ramsey, so I started researching Dave Ramsey even more, and just learned all sorts of little tidbits from him verbatim. The stuff that I'm going to present to you is not mine, it's Dave Ramsey's. When it comes to financial planning, Michael Bowman doesn't have an original thought in his head. So when you go out and you tell people how awesome this was, don't say this guy taught us all how to. Say this guy told us what Dave Ramsey says about how to. Okay? But anyway, so really I took a lot of what Dave Ramsey did and I condensed it because, like I said, when I'm talking about single soldiers, I'm primarily talking about kids from 18 to 24. And so their attention span isn't going to be super long. And so I broke this down as simply as I could. And I was thrilled that at each one of these events, at least a couple of these kids would get it and started doing real financial planning. Because as you'll hear time and time and time again, if you listen to Dave Ramsey, it is not too late for you to be a millionaire by the time you retire with very, very, very little effort, just a lot of planning and strategizing and being frugal.
Awesome. Yeah, I love all of that. And for you guys who don't, you've never even heard the name Dave Ramsey, he is like the ultimate like guru with this stuff. I know our team is super obsessed with Ashley Mayfield and her debt-free journey and everything that she does with her team as well. And this is the exact plan that took her and her husband debt-free. And when they went debt-free, guys, I just want to really reiterate this to the team. They were not earning a significant income with It Works when they went debt-free using this plan. So we're going to really be able to help you guys implement all of this no matter where you are at with your business here. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. But she was a diamond and promoted to double diamond when brand new double diamond when they went debt free using the Dave Ramsey plan. And they did it very, very quickly. And the other thing I want to say too is if you haven't looked up Dave Ramsey on Instagram, go and check it out because it is so inspiring. Something that Jen and I were talking about too is it doesn't matter, if your debt journey takes you, 4 years to pay off $100,000 or if it takes you 1 year to pay it off, this plan works and this plan is amazing. And we're going to talk about that tonight because like I said, we really, really think that this is going to really impact so many of your lives. So Michael, the first question that I have for you, just to kind of dive into this and thinking of the general amount of people we have here. Like I said to you, we have some people on the Zoom here who are earning $10,000 to $15,000 a month, and we have some people who are brand new in our business. So what is kind of something that you were to teach those soldiers, maybe for even people who aren't making a lot of money yet? What are those first steps on how to start implementing this, even if you feel like you're not in a good place financially yet? If that question makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to do some simple math, but even simple math isn't a really good combination with me. But I used to have figures in front of me when I did this about what soldiers make. When a soldier goes into the Army, they do not make much, not much at all. And so when I start talking about, and I've been a private in the Army where in 1985, where I think I was making like $200 a month. And I retired as a major in 2018 where I was making over $100,000 a year. So I've seen every spectrum in the Army, and I've seen roughly every spectrum except true abject poverty, really in the economic sphere. One of the reasons that I like presenting stuff about Dave Ramsey, it'd be really easy if I sat here and I told you that I'm debt free and I did it in, this amount of time and it's a great life and you're probably not there yet. Let me tell you, when you get there, it's going to be lots of fun for you. Well, being in the Army, life is full of transitions. And so one of the latest transitions we just faced is that I retired. Not only did I retire and get my salary cut in half, but we moved to a higher economic or higher cost of living area. And so, you know what? I don't have a lot of money saved. I don't have all my bills paid off. I have using Dave Ramsey. But you know what? Life happened. And that's one of the things I tend to find myself a little bit more forgiving than Dave Ramsey, because if Dave Ramsey listened to my story, he would say, my plan didn't fail. You failed following my plan. And he's absolutely right. But you know what? For me, sometimes life gets in the way, and sometimes there's things you got to do. I had paid off in 8 months, I had paid off somewhere in the vicinity of $12,000 of credit card debt when I was going through Dave Ramsey the second time. Now, those sound like big numbers, but I was making really good money. So don't think, oh, I could never do that on the salary I make. I probably couldn't have done it on the salary you make either. So this is not a race against somebody else. This has got nothing to do with time. This has got to do with taking what you have the ability to do, giving you some knowledges about how you can utilize some things maybe a little bit better, and giving you a strategy to do so. And it doesn't matter if all you can save is $5 a week, then that's where we're going to start, is $5 a week. But we'll talk more about that when we talk about the $1,000 emergency fund and things like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of like where I would love to start, is what is the first step of this plan? Dave Ramsey has baby steps that he calls them, that you're going to go through baby steps with our plan. A lot of you guys had extremely amazing and valid questions on Jen's post the other day. And we are just, in such an unknown territory. This is brand new to a lot of us, taking this on and taking this journey to debt free. It's like, what do I do first? Do I start paying off one credit card first? Do I stop paying the credit card over here? Do I pay the one with the highest interest? That baby step one is very important. I know Jen did a live on this the other day on our team, but we really want to reiterate this a lot tonight, and the reason behind why it's so important. So do you want to talk a little bit about baby step one and what that $1,000 emergency fund is for, and the reason you want to get it set up even before we start thinking about and tackling paying off debt?
Yeah, well, it's like I said earlier, life happens. And usually when life happens, it happens when we have absolutely $0 in the bank. And so we get caught with car repairs. We get caught with plumbing repairs. We get caught with, costs for cap and gown for kids for graduation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these extra things come at us, and all of a sudden we have no funds. We're making a choice. We're either going to pay this bill, or we're going to take the money for that bill and we're going to fix our car. But if we don't fix our car, I can't get to work. And if I can't get to work, I can't make money. And so the vicious cycle goes round and round and round. So really what Dave's emergency fund is for is to stem the tide of that vicious cycle, so that, when your car breaks down, you've got money set aside to get it fixed. Couple more examples I could use, but by and large, that's kind of the premise of the $1,000 emergency fund.
Right. And I know, I am debt free at this time, but I didn't, use this plan. I was kind of just winging it for the most part. And I definitely didn't do this. So I get that 100%. How many times do, you start trying to tackle off a credit card and you're paying all this money down on it. Maybe you paid $300 down on a credit card, and then 2 days later, like, Michael said, your tire blows. Where do you get that extra $300 for? It goes right back onto a credit card. And that's the vicious cycle that we want to cut out right away. And this is what we want you guys focusing on right now, like today. This should have been started a few days ago when Jen started talking about this on the team. And Jen, I want to go to you for a minute. And so you can just, kind of go into detail about that as well, and what you have learned about the $1,000 emergency fund, and the way that you're looking at it, and how we can kind of quickly, you gave some really good tips the other day on your live, but just kind of quickly some examples of how to get that going right now today.
Yeah, definitely. So just going off what Michael was saying, the $1,000 fund, this is going to be your cushion when you start paying off your debt. So we want to make sure we get that. We want to make sure we get it fast. Now, I know, and we don't just have $1,000 sitting aside to put in this emergency fund. So one, like Michael said, even if you have $5 to get it started, make that conscious decision that you're not getting the Dunkin' Donuts, you're not going out to a restaurant. Even making the money that I make, you guys know the average of a triple. I get this sense of entitlement when that paycheck comes, and I go out to dinner and I buy the clothes for my kids. And I looked at Steve and I said, why do I feel that way? I have all this debt looming over me. So I need to be smarter with my money. So one, when the paychecks come in, really know what you can put into that emergency fund. And number two, we want to aggressively tackle this emergency fund and get it set up as soon as possible. So you know what? I have so many kids' toys in my house that we're not using. So you know what we're doing? We're selling them. We're selling the clothes that we're not using. We're selling, sell things around your house. Go babysit. Go pick up an extra shift. Go do something extra where that money is specifically going to that emergency fund so that we can get it set up as soon as possible. This is a huge change that we're doing, and this is a huge journey. So making the conscious decision, yes, we're all busy, but to, pick up that extra shift to fill this emergency fund is going to benefit you. So, we know that we don't all have $1,000 sitting around. So it's going to really take that conscious decision, that conscious effort to get that money to start that fund. So Michael, I don't know if you have any other ideas or any other strategies for starting that fund when, people are looking at me like I'm crazy, like, I don't have $1,000. What do I do?
Yeah, and the things I'm about to talk about, everybody's guilty of something, so please don't hear me judging anything that you do. I'm going to start this with talking about something that just today my wife and I talked about that I'm going to give up to start my fund again, and that is, I get coffee at Dunkin' Donuts about 3 times a week. It's always a large, and it costs about $3.25 over a year's time. Now, first of all, how many of y'all, rhetorical question, how many of y'all think you don't deserve to be able to treat yourself to a freaking cup of coffee with all that you do? Okay? Ridiculous, right? We should be able to have a freaking cup of coffee if we want it. But that's kind of, even that little bit of twist in your thinking keeps you from saving money you don't probably even count. Because if I stop drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I can save $500 a year just on what I'm spending in coffee. So I'm halfway there just by drinking coffee at home when I leave rather than going out to Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if we have any smokers out there, but how many packs of cigarettes do you smoke a day? God, what do cigarettes even cost? I've never smoked cigarettes, so I know when all my friends started, they used to be $1 a pack. That tells you how old I am. I think they're like $11 or something a pack now, right? If there's any smokers out there, those are the kind of things that you can decide. I'm not saying anybody should quit smoking, but would you be willing to buy 1 pack a week less? You're saving yourself $10-11 a week. Do you smoke 2.5, 3 packs a day? Are you willing to try to stretch 1 pack out through the whole day? And then take that money. It's very important whether you do this digitally. We're all going to do it digitally. So that's another thing that we'll talk about later is doing this stuff without actually touching, feeling money, because Dave Ramsey says that you should. I think that in this world, it's hard not to do it all digital. But you take that money, whether you do it by the day or at the end of the week, you take that money that you didn't spend on whatever guilty pleasure it might be, and you put it in a separate account into that savings account, so that you can see the growth. Even if it's $5 a week, even if it's only $10 a week, you can see the growth and how much closer you're getting to fulfilling that first goal.
I love this. If anybody else's mind is blown, just tell me in the comment section right now, because as soon as I heard this concept of setting up $1,000 emergency fund, I was like, boom. How did I not know this? And how is this not something that we should just all be taught. One of the things that I think is amazing about it is exactly what I said. It's getting you out of that vicious cycle. One of the things I wanted to touch on as well, and Jen or Michael, you can touch on this some more in depth, because I know you guys are both more knowledgeable on this as me, but this emergency fund is supposed to be saved somewhere that's not easily accessible. So it can't just be transferred right over to your checking account. It can't just be, like, oh, well, I saved up this $1,000, so I do deserve to go out and buy myself a pair of $200 flip-flops, and then it's depleted in, a day again. This $1,000 emergency fund should be saved in some kind of bank account where it can't be transferred over to your checking. It should always be that cushion, no matter where you are at in your life or your business and your finances and your career. The $1,000 is key. It is life. You always, always, always have that for anything that comes up. Later on, and I know some of you guys had this question as well, is, well, $1,000 doesn't cover my bills. $1,000 isn't going to secure me if I lose my job tomorrow, and it's not going to be that, it's not going to be able to cover my rent. It's not going to be able to cover my car. It's not going to be able to cover my utilities. That's not what this is. We're going to start implementing that later, and we do have these baby steps to go through first. This emergency fund is for emergencies. It is that cushion. It is that security blanket that you have. And I love one of the things that both of you guys said is that not everybody has this money sitting around. We absolutely do not. I know I wouldn't have had this money sitting around later, but let's collaborate and think of some ways and ideas we can get it quickly, and also implementing and using It Works to get it quickly. One of the ways I immediately think of that Dave Ramsey doesn't know we have access to, right, is Fast Start bonuses. You can guarantee your income every single month and week using those. If you know, I want to get my $1,000 emergency fund set up this month, and like that should be most of your guys' goal, is like get it set up immediately, whether it's this month or next month. So I'm going to be able to earn at least $300 to $400 in Fast Start bonuses. So I need to come up and find another way to earn that $600. Or maybe you just want to earn it all with Fast Start bonuses, and you're just a boss and you're like, I'm going to find 10 people who also need $1,000 emergency fund, and you go out and you get it all that way. This is going to really skyrocket your business. And as we go more in depth with this, and we do start inviting those new people on our team who are hungry to get this right away, and we're teaching them these things right away, they're going to see these people want to directly impact my life. They want me, and it's that tangible goal right away that people need. It is that thing that they're like, wow, they're going to help me get $1,000 in a month. I can do this. I want to stick around here. These people want to help me change my life. This is going to catapult and skyrocket our business. And that is why we are so focused on this here. And after we get off of here, we can definitely start a thread collaborating ways and ideas that you're going to start doing this, whether it's, not buying your Dunkin' Donuts coffee, whether it's not buying a pack of cigarettes, or whether, you start budgeting and you get more frugal with certain things. And the other thing I want to say too is we're not saying don't have a budget for, life things and fun things. You can when we get into our budgeting apps, and Jen has already explored some of those, and I'm sure Michael has some up his sleeve as well. We're going to explore some of that as well, where, you're not going to have to live like you can't do anything, but we're going to budget where you know how much you have for this, and you know how much you have for that. You know how much you can put away this week towards the emergency fund, and all that great stuff. So we're going to help you guys set this up right away and continue to duplicate that down all the way into all of these new distributors that we're enrolling all the time. So trust me, this is going to be so much fun and so amazing. I see a huge vision with this. But let's keep going. What was I going to say? I don't know. I forget what the next question I had on my mind was, but I was going to ask you guys both something. But maybe, one of you, whether it's Jen or Michael, can touch on that, what I just said, in terms of budgeting. So I guess one of the questions that I would have, if I was a newbie and you guys were, telling me to do all these things, I didn't have a lot of money, I have all this debt, I'm not earning a lot, maybe some of my bills are already behind. Like I'm behind on my cable bill, I'm behind on my gas bill, and this credit card over here is about to go into collections. what do I focus on first? Do I just say screw it to all of that and start building this emergency fund, or should I get myself caught up first? What is the correct answer there?
Jen, you want to take this one?
I don't care if you feel comfortable with it, you can. I don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. So again, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like you're more knowledgeable than I am on all this stuff. I'm still fairly new at it, but from what I'm understanding, the first step is you're going to want to get caught up on any past due bills. So if your credit card bill is $300 past due and you are not up to like making minimum payments yet, that's going to be your first step, not the emergency fund. And when you're paying, so once you start the emergency fund and say you have that $1,000, or while you're getting it, you still want to be making minimum payments. You don't ever not want to make your minimum payments, because nobody wants to like lower their credit while paying off debt. It sounds like, that those two don't go together. So from my understanding of it, you want to get the $1,000 while paying your minimums off. And this is a question I have for you, Michael. So say somebody gets all their, gets the $1,000, their emergency fund up and running, and they have their bills. And I know Dave Ramsey says, start them from smallest to largest. This is something we'll get into further like later on. But a question that keeps coming up is, what do we do with interest? When we're putting our bills in order, do we focus on bills that have higher interest? Do we not worry about interest payments? What would be your advice on that?
Yeah, no, you're not going to worry about interest on revolving debt, right? So because you're not just ordering the payment of credit cards from lowest to highest. Like you said, Jennifer, we're always making our minimum payments. Regardless of what else we're doing, we're making our minimum payments so we don't get further behind. And if you are in a transitional or crisis period in your life, most debtors you can call and say, maybe it's that you're unemployed, maybe it's that you're a single mom and you're not working, maybe, I don't know what it could be, but if you find yourself in dire straits, do not be afraid to call your creditors and say, hey, this is going on in my life. I don't expect it to be a permanent thing, but I am going to get behind in this payment if I don't receive some kind of help. They will either reduce the payments, they may close the card, that's what some companies do, but they may reduce the payments, or they may freeze your account for a month. So work with the creditors if you're in like a moment of being in dire straits. So secondly, yes, you want to get out of the red, right? Because anytime I teach this from people being dead broke even. So I often have not even taught about paying your bills that are behind off first. But yeah, you want to pay those off, and then really the whole object behind these things is to do it as fast as you can, even if as fast as you can is $10 a week. But you want to get anything you're in the red on back up to an even balance. Then you're going to order your credit cards. But once you start paying your credit cards small to large, you're going to take the payment of the credit card that you just paid off, and you're going to add that to the minimum payment of the next credit card. And you're going to stagger this throughout your whole credit card. And really, depending on the amount of credit card debt you're in, soon, before you know it, a couple of years down the road, you're paying $2,000 a month off in credit card debt from money that it's not going outside your budget, because you're simply revolving that money right back into paying credit cards. So that's just a tidbit of what's to come in that lesson, which that's actually step 2.
Now, so somebody asked in the comments, which is a great question, about that emergency fund. So say, life happens, the tire bursts, you spend $400. What do you do next? Do you go right back into paying bills? Do you work on replenishing that fund?
Great question. So I say that the emergency fund is temporary, but as long as you're doing the emergency fund, it's cyclic. And what I mean by that is exactly what the person asked in the question. You know, your tire bursts or 2 tires burst or whatever. You got to drop $400 to get the car fixed. You're now $400 behind. Stop, you pay that back up to $1,000, and then you get back on to paying your bills. Now, this is credit card bills. When I say bills, we'll talk about other bills and budget. But right now, what we're talking about is credit card debt. And so then you go and you continue to pay that off the way that you were. I have known people personally who have paid off $40,000 worth of credit card debt in 2.5 years using Dave Ramsey's method.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one of the amazing things about our business is that if we're all working our businesses to the best of our ability, our incomes are increasing every month as well. So it's not like a lot of jobs where you have that set income every month, and no matter how hard you work, you know, you're not making extra money. Like Hannah said, on Dave Ramsey's Instagram, some of those stories are insane. Like, you know, you'll have a couple who paid off $100,000 in a year or in 5 years. It all depends, just like this business, how fast you want to do it, how fast you want to run. And we all just need to realize that we are in such a lucky place that if we work harder, we get more money. And like Hannah said, like, if you know you want to get that emergency fund up, go get those fast starts. Go put in a little extra effort, you know, because not everybody has that opportunity. So that is like such an awesome thing about this business that it just makes me feel so hopeful. It's not like we're at jobs where we're not making more money the harder we work and you like just can't see the end. So that just gets me super excited about all this. Off topic, but just gets me very excited.
That gets me like so extremely fired up as well. Like knowing where this is going to take your business and knowing that you guys have a set plan to help other people that you're going to bring in here as well. It is going to boom, boom, boom your business. And like Jen said, your paycheck is going to be rising every single month. You do have a plan on how to, you know, take your current income from where it is to, you know, double, triple, quadruple in a year's time. You know, for some people, even quicker. You know, we've had people in this business get to triple dime in 4, 5, 6 months. So imagine, you know, using this with It Works. I mean, I don't think Dave Ramsey's met It Works, but we can do some crazy stuff over here. So it gets me fired up and excited. Okay, so just to reiterate what we've learned, so you guys can write this down. The first thing, if you are behind on bills, is to get caught up. And how to do that is to create some kind of budget. You've got to get real with where your money is going. Just like both of these 2 phenomenal people we have on our team have said, figure out where the money is going. If you know you have habits of just spending your money willy-nilly on coffees, or, you know, I know for myself, like, I'm not even the best with this, and I'm going to get better because of you guys. I'm going to be on this journey with you guys. Even though I don't have debt, I'm going to be good with budgeting. I'm going to be good with savings. And I'm going to be doing this with you guys. But like, I know I'll just go out and buy a pair of sandals without knowing what my budget is. You know, I budget myself in one sense, but not in a way where, you know, I know what and I know when Jen started doing this, she's like, holy cow, how much of my money is going to Bose and clothes on, you know, Etsy for my son. He doesn't need these things. So that's, you know, step 1, getting caught up on any bills that you're behind. And by doing that, figure out where the money is going and how much you do have to get caught up. And if you are behind and you already are budgeting, and you feel like you're just drowning, call the creditors, just like Michael said, figure out plans with people, but also let's use our business. Get real on social media. Talk about these things. Talk about how your team is going to help you get out of this hole. Talk about how you have ways to rapidly get $100 bonuses every single week to get you caught up. There are so many people out there that can relate to that so much. If I saw that 4 years ago with where I was at, I would have been like, holy cow, this person has a way to get out of the hole that I am currently in. So you're going to be able to really get clear on your focus and your story and where you're going using everything that we talked about. And then step two, if you are, step one for you, if you are caught up, is getting that $1,000 emergency fund immediately, while still paying the other bills, while not falling behind, paying those minimums, and making sure all the other bills are being paid. And if we do have a tire blow, or if we do have, a child that gets sick and we have some medical bills come up or whatever, so we have to use that emergency fund, we replenish that and we stop paying off the debt before. So these are the two things that we're going to be focused on right now. And then for anybody who is already good in both of these areas, you've got your emergency fund, you've got your bills caught up, we can start working on those next steps with you, maybe more privately right now, and we're going to start implementing those out onto the team within the next week or weeks to come, once we feel confident that you guys understand this and confident that you guys have a way to get this. Okay, so budgeting. Let's talk about that really quickly, just to give these people a way to kind of figure out what their budget even is. And one of the questions that I definitely would have if I was new and I was going through this is, the biggest question is like, do I have to live super, super strict where I can't have any fun? I know one of his quotes is live like other people won't, so you can live like other people don't or can't. I don't know it exactly. And that's kind of what we say in this business a lot too, which is something that I love. But like, how strict is this budget? Does he leave room for us to have fun, to take our kids apple picking or strawberry picking or whatever? Or should it just go strict to bills, necessities, debt, and emergency fund? And what apps can we use to budget?
So I'll leave any discussion about apps to Jennifer, because frankly, when I started reading, so I'll give you a quick once around the world in my personal history. I got married at 21 years old. I was married for 25 years. Through that whole time, I let my ex-wife be the one to handle our money, and she dressed very well and had lots of really, really nice things in the house. Meanwhile, my bills were doubling without me knowing it. So when I got out on my own, I had all these bills, and I didn't even know, honestly, how to budget. I remember some things I had read in Dave Ramsey, so I went back to that. But I don't use apps. I don't really use Dave Ramsey's formula per se. What I did was I stripped everything down to bare bones. I do it on a spreadsheet every single month. I have a template for a budget, a monthly budget. And then, of course, every month you've got to go in and tweak it, because maybe you're counting on money that didn't come in, or maybe you've got a little extra money, shouldn't we all? And you want to know exactly what you might want to do with your extra money, et cetera, et cetera. So the budget's always going to change. But there are some things in the budget that never will change. Rent or mortgage payment, that's generally not going to change. Electricity, utilities, yeah, it's going to go up in the summer months. I mean, down in the summer months and up in the winter months. But generally you can get an average on that, so that's not going to change very, very, very much. Car payments will not change. So you already have a template for your budget, just with all the bills that won't change. Now, what I did was I lined up all my bills that I knew wouldn't change, that weren't revolving debt, and that I had to pay monthly. So I had electricity, I had utilities, I had rent, I had, if some of you have like a city or town or area garbage bill that you have to pay to get your garbage picked up, you budget that. Then you start looking at what's left, and then you start looking at, once your minimum payments on the revolving debt is paid, what's left from that. Then you start deciding what you can spend on bills, what you'd like to put in savings, and what to use for what I call an entertainment account. In the entertainment account, if you start feeding money into this, This is, that would be for movies. That would be fun money. You know, anything you wanted to do for that. So you simply figure out how much money you can or you're willing or you want to spend on entertainment. You know, I'm not saying anything new when I say we are an entertainment drenched society. And so, you know, you're going to have to decide. Another thing that I know a lot of families have is like they have Prime Video and they have Hulu and they have Netflix and they're paying for all three. And, you know, that's something else you could consider taking off and taking that money and adding it towards the $1,000 account or towards revolving credit card debt. But let me regroup my thoughts here. So anyway, the if I remember both questions, the first one was always pay back into your $1,000 account. You want to have $1,000 until you complete step 2. Then step 3 goes into something else, which is how much savings that you're going to spend. You're going to save. Really, the
3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I know a bit. You want to save at least 3 months' salary to have in the account. That's step 3. But we're going to get into all those details on other teachings that we do. So there's more to come on all of that.
Yeah, that was like all so amazing. And just to add on, so the app that I'm using currently, it's like a 15 free day trial because I have like zero green organization. Excel spreadsheets are beyond me. Like I just like can't. So for me, this app, this is the one that goes along with the Dave Ramsey, what was it? Financial Peace University. So those of you who don't know, that Dave Ramsey is like course that he teaches on budgeting, financial management, all that stuff. So he has an app and it's called Every Dollar. It's amazing. So I think I'm planning on just doing the 15-day free trial, and now like I can visually see how my budget should be going. But one thing that they really stress that I love is, like Michael was saying, is you need to be planning for your bills, and then at the end plan for your fun money. You don't budget your bills to fit around your fun money. You budget the fun money to fit after the bills. And that was something that, like, I should obviously know that, but it's not something I'm doing. How many of us, we get paid on the 15th and we go spend our money on the 15th and this come the 16th and we're like, oh my God, how many days till next month when I get paid again? So, you know, for me, an eye-opening thing with that app was just focusing on setting all my money aside for the bills first. So with the app, you can link your bank account. So I have my bank account linked. I set up a separate account so I can put in every fast start that I get, because that money can kind of vary monthly. And then I also hooked up Steve's account. So he's so excited. So I can see like his money too. But one thing that we struggle with as far as budgeting is if we don't get all of the money for a bill at once, we tend not to think to put it towards that bill. So if Steve's out Ubering and he makes $40, in the app, you can move that $40 without actually moving it in your bank account. So you'll say, okay, that $40 goes there, and it recalculates how much money you have left for the month. So then if he makes another 40 and we move it to that bill and say, now we have enough for that bill, he can go in and actually pay the bill. I don't know if that is making sense, but the app does like a lot of the work for you. If you're not familiar with budgeting, because I was not, I had the idea of budgeting down. I knew, like Michael said, you need to figure out what your minimum payments are and this and that, but you don't realize how much you're spending on extra stuff until your account is linked and it shows you exactly how much you spent in June on restaurants and food and clothes. So it's pretty eye-opening. And again, it's a 15-day free trial just to see exactly how you budget. Even if you feel confident in it, I would recommend it because, again, like Michael said, we are very digital right now. So yeah, I don't know about the next question. I don't know, Michael, if you have a better suggestion, or Hannah, like for that $1,000 fund, like where do you put it? Like, do you open up a separate bank account? Do you keep it in cash? Like, how do you do it?
I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt anybody if they were going to answer that, but I know I have an account that has a significant amount of money in it that I don't allow myself to touch. So it's kind of like my emergency fund, and it's almost like that 3 to 6 month security that I'm just like, I can't even transfer this money over, but it is linked. If I log into my account, I see it all there, but it's not an account that I can transfer. So my bank has that option. I have to go into the bank and take money out and withdraw it. So it's harder for me to do it. Cause like, when am I going to go into a bank? I have 2 crazy kids, you know? So because that was a downfall of mine for sure. For a long time in this business, I was always trying to save. And then it's like, oh, well, like I've earned this money, you know, I'm a presidential diamond. I deserve to do X, Y, and Z because I've worked so hard for it. And I always fell into this trap of like transferring $1,000, transferring $1,000, transferring $1,000. And then by the time I get paid on the 15th again, I'm just replenishing money that I took out of savings. So it was like this huge, like vicious cycle for me. So now I have this account that my bank offers this, and I don't know if everybody else's does, that I'm able to transfer my checking to it, but I can't transfer out of it. So it is super fun and awesome. I love it. And it has helped me save very rapidly, like I wasn't able to before. And I've gotten myself onto that stricter kind of budgeting, but I want to dive more into budgeting for sure to know where my money is going. So I'm kind of scared. I'm like, I know I like walk into a kid's clothing store and I'm like,
I want to see your restaurant budget.
Yeah, like, dude,
your ice cream budget alone. We all know Hannah loves her ice cream.
Yeah.
I'd like to add just a couple more things about budgeting if I can.
Of course.
First of all, be honest. And what I mean by that is this. If you buy alcohol, I'm not here to judge you, but if you spend alcohol per week, put that in your budget. You know you're going to, so why lie to yourself? Or if you smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day, put that into your budget so you can see where you're spending your money. Some people say, almost like what you do for, you know, if you were going to start a diet. Some people who start diets first start by logging everything that they eat. An option is to take like a clipboard and a notepad with you, log down everything you spend and how you spend your money. It's eye-opening sometimes. You know, Hannah's mentioned, you know, that attitude of oh, sorry, when you're old, you start forgetting words.
When you deserve money, is that what you want? Or you
yeah. I'm sorry?
I just was reiterating what I said. When you feel like you deserve to go out and do something because you've earned it. Right. So I used to be that way. I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas for a long time. Texas knows nothing about Dunkin' Donuts. So the only thing you can do is get really bad Texas coffee or get okay Starbucks coffee. But I don't like Starbucks hot coffee because it tastes burnt. So I would only get an iced latte. I would only get a venti iced latte, and that was $4.50. And at the time, like I said, my money was being siphoned to other places that I didn't know. So for some reason, I never had access to money. So this was my one guilty pleasure, that I would have that air of, I deserve this. I'm going to buy it. Sometimes I'd buy 2 a day, and I'd buy at least 5 days a week. I found my $1,000 by giving up 2/3 of my Starbucks habit. Now I was able to throw in a little more to do it quicker too, but as the numbers go, I had over $1,000 just by cutting out 2/3 of my coffee habit. So be honest, put those things in, and yeah, secondly, budget in fun, because you know what? If all you do is work and take care of your family and pay bills just to get up and do it all again tomorrow,
eventually you're going to fall flat on your face from exhaustion. And then who are you going to be able to help with all the great stuff that you do?
I love that you mentioned that. And it's something that, I think that we have to talk about in our business often as well. Take it in, how you can handle it. And just like you linked it back to dieting, if you suddenly go like diving headfirst onto this super strict diet and plan and not thinking about, well, I do like to have cookies sometimes on a Friday night, and you're not, going to be not budgeting, but like implementing that into your diet plan, then it's gonna fail. But if you just start small, it goes back to that power promise that we talk about, that Ed Mylett talks about a lot. Make a power promise to yourself and start small, and then add to it week after week. Like this week, I'm going to budget. This, I'm going to stop, having 2 coffees. I'm going to bring it down to just 1, or I'm going to start drinking coffee at home. I'm only going to have keto coffee because I need it for my auto ship anyways. Things like that. Just be smart. We don't want you guys feeling like, I just want to say too, if you don't want to do any of this, if you're like, heck, I don't want to pay off my debt, we want you to. We want to be impacting your life in that positive way. It's so powerful and refreshing to not have debt. You don't realize the difference that it makes in the way you just feel, and not having that, anxiety over you every single day, knowing that your income is not really yours because it's owed to other people and places. It's really refreshing to not have that. And I want each and every single one of you to be able to experience that. But if this isn't for you and you're just like, girl, like I'm in It Works to have fun. I don't want to be learning how to budget. I don't want to be learning how to pay off my debt. My money's mine. Don't tell me where to spend it. You don't have to do this. The other thing is too, we don't want you to go so hardcore into this that you're not living life. And part of our business is allowing you to have that freedom, is allowing you to spend time with your family and have fun and do fun things. And we're going to be giving you guys ways, and we already do this, to have that fun. We do contests where Jessica won pumpkin picking or apple picking family day with her family from a contest. Shannon just won $200 beach day, We do these things for you guys, and we have very many ways to earn income in our business. It's not just one set way. Your income can increase every single month. And implementing this into it and tying this into your posts and talking to your potentials about this is going to skyrocket that and allow you to have more freedom every month. When your budget starts expanding and that debt is gone, imagine when that debt is gone and that money is just yours every month. You can put it into savings. You can start thinking about college funds for your kids. You can do all of these things because what we're going to do now, again, tying it back to doing what other people won't so you can live like other people cannot. We say that with It Works all the time, and it just ties back to having integrity, promising yourself something and doing it every single day, and having self-discipline. 2 things that we talk about with the business, and we're going to get better and better and stronger with those things together throughout this. Jen, I don't know if you want to add anything else about anything.
So really quick. So we talk about Ed Mylett all the time, and he always says, like, if you become laser focused on something, it's like when you want to go buy a blue Honda and then you buy the blue Honda and you see it everywhere. Like, that's what this has been like since we started talking about it. Like, the fact that, like, I was sitting next to Carrie and her husband was there and they know about this. It's like, what are the chances like that? Like the day before, me and Hannah were talking about going debt free, and then we were sitting next to you guys. The same thing has happened with sharing this mission on social media. Okay, 1, I would not have known so many on our team were passionate about going debt free if we didn't talk about it. And 2, I've shared like tidbits of this decision to do this on social media, and I have gotten such a different audience responding to my posts, and it's wild because there are people who've been following me for a long time, but they want hope. And it's not just hope, like, yeah, we're going to make you more money. It's like, yes, that debt does not need to be looming over you forever. Val, I heard Cammie mention Dave Ramsey at the Try It. It's like, once it's like you get that bug, it's everywhere. So I'm just so excited. And like, Michael, like, I want you to be on this journey with us and to help us, answer our questions along the way. Cause like me and Hannah said, like, we're new to this. You are much more experienced. I feel like we were sitting next to each other at the Try It for a reason. I'm just so excited. And like, you're going through this journey with us too. Cause like you said, like, you're not 100% debt free. And just, I also love what you said about the I deserve this attitude. I mean, I'm texting Hannah like post ideas and just like what I want to do next with the team. I'm just so excited. So yeah, I don't know, Michael, if you have any last minute tips about the emergency fund, or anything that you feel like you didn't say that you wanted to.
Oh, I just think this is going to be a fun series that we do together. I mean, I'm going to talk to you about how to pay cash for a brand new car inside of 5 years, and how to keep paying cash for brand new cars every 5 years. We're going to talk, Rachel made a comment about Roth IRAs. That's really good, Rachel. Again, remember, everything I say is Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey says that some of these Roth IRAs will yield an average of an annual 12% return. That is like way unheard of. Now, he said it's not every year, but it averages out. So we're going to talk a little bit, what little I know about investing, because you know what, I'm at the beginning of that journey myself. But I wish somebody talked to me about this 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Anytime that I could have started seeing how simple it really is to control your money if you're willing to work at it a little bit.
I love it all. The last thing that I would just like to say too is I understand, and I don't know if anybody else on here feels this way, but I know when I started paying off my debt, I don't even know the right word to use for it, but like I was mad about it. I was like, I don't want my money that I'm working for going to somebody else. I feel like I'm just earning money and then giving it to other people. So this can be a hard thing to have to get over. It was a hard thing for me to have to get over. And what we have to simply realize is we spent the money. The reason it was hard for me to get over is because I didn't have anything to show for putting myself into over $70,000 worth of debt. I didn't have, big fancy things sitting around my house. I didn't even have a house and I was in all this debt. I didn't even own a TV and I was in all this debt because I was buying things like diapers, wipes, gas, my car payment was going on credit cards. And it was hard to, come to terms with I spent this money and it's my responsibility to have to go out and pay it off. And when that check came in and I was just dishing it off to other people, guys, it's hard. But it is worth it in the end. It is worth it when you are debt free and when you get that paycheck and you can put it into savings and you can rapidly build a savings account every single month. That money that was going to debt is now, you can expand your budget a little bit as your income increases, but you can also build a very substantial amount of savings, which is what we all want to be able to do here and provide a lifelong legacy for our family. I have huge, huge, huge visions with what we are doing here with this very clear focus that we have. I think it gives you guys a very strong target to go out and chase after. It's no longer, let's just get everybody to diamond. It's let's get you $1,000. How can we do that quickly using It Works and other ways? How can we do that for you? How can we impact your life? And when you have your life impacted this way, you're going to catch yourself on fire. Your excitement is going to be to the next level where you are enrolling the right people who want this as well. Your business is going to skyrocket. I was saying to Jen, I was like, I just have extreme, we started the Fireboard, and I'm going to go live and go into more depth about the Fireboard tomorrow. But, one of the things on our Fireboard is how many people on our team set up that $1,000 emergency fund this month. And every single month, we're going to announce how many we had going on. And I have dreams of enroll our team, bringing in these new distributors. And every single month, we all start with 100 new people, got their emergency fund set up. And the next month it's going to be, we got 500 people setting up their emergency fund within their first month of this business. That is my dream with this. It is our dream for our team. We are going to be just changing lives on a whole new level like we never, ever, ever have before. And I couldn't be more excited for this team and where it's headed. So get ready. Get your debt-free, pants on, because we going for it. Any last words?
Hannah, do you have time for me to ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
So you already spoke to us about the anger you felt as you were having to pay off bills. But as you watched that debt number shrink and shrink and shrink, did you have another experience? Was that liberating, or is there another word you might use for that?
It absolutely is. And so I was in a little bit of a different situation, and some of you guys could be in this situation that I was in as well, where I let all of my credit cards, even my student loans, everything was in collections. Every single thing was in collections. My credit score was in the 200s, 300s when I started this business 4 years ago. Like, that is how at rock bottom my life was, guys. Like, when I talk about this, I sometimes don't think people understand the severity of I did not know how I was going to get out. I had a degree in early education, and my degree didn't even allow me to earn enough income to send my son to daycare. So how the heck was I supposed to get a roof over his head? How the heck was I supposed to get myself out of all this debt? I had debt collectors calling my phone multiple times a day to pay this off. So yes, when I started paying it off and not having as many people sending me mail and hounding me, and just being able to call and be like, okay, I'm going to pay it off. I'm going to make a deal with you. Like, I'm doing this. And every time I said that, I was like, and you know, I did have that anger and resentment for myself for getting myself there at first and not feeling like I had anything to show for it. But as you see, you know, A, your credits start rising. B, being able to tell somebody on the other end of the phone, like, yes, I can pay this off in full. It is liberating. It makes you feel like you can just go out and accomplish and do so much more. Guys, I sent over my last payment. I sent over in lump sum $9,989 to the Department of Education, and it was gone. Like, I don't have debt hanging over my head anymore. And it is amazing. This is living. This is how life is supposed to be. We have been taught all of our life to have a credit card. From the moment we step in the foot of the door of a college, like Cami was saying, you have people open this credit card, open that credit card, because they're targeting young people. They target millennials. The other thing I had huge resentment over was those student loans, because A, I wasn't using my degree, but B, I didn't even know I was getting myself into that debt, because as an 18, 19 going into college, you don't know. You don't know what you're signing up for. You don't understand the severity of putting yourself into that kind of debt. And now I didn't have as much student loan debt as I know some people do. And I can't even imagine knowing, you know, that somebody allowed you to put yourself into over $100,000 worth of student loan debt because they were taking advantage of a 19-year-old wanting to go to college and have some fun and also get a degree. It's just not okay. And it's not the way that life is supposed to be. And I just, like I said, I want every single one of you to be able to experience and have that liberating feeling of your money is yours. You own your money, you own your time. And you get to live life on your terms while also being smart with it. You know, it's not, like I said, I got to get better. I got to get better with feeling like I deserve to go out and buy a $200 pair of shoes. I don't need to do that. And I'm going to get better for you guys, because I'm going to be on this journey with you and this team.
But I know we keep saying we're going to hop off, but Val's asking a really good question. And Michael, I feel like you and Carrie probably have some knowledge on this topic. You know, one, you know, they both have finances. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read it. Hold on. You know, one blames the other on the debt. And I know you and Carrie, you both had.
I can explain it.
I'm like, what am I hearing? Okay.
I unmuted myself. So we bought a house 2 years ago, and we've already been in financial trouble. He actually took all of his retirement fund, and we paid all of our credit cards off once. Mm-hmm. And then now 2 kids, a dog, and a house later, we're again back in the same spot, where now we have $10,000 of medical bills, which is going to grow because he just went to the emergency room for heart issues. So now that's 4 emergencies in 2 years, a new house that needed more work than planned. You know, $4,500 for a brand new whole house filter softener. So everything that is going on the credit cards now is also gas and groceries. So whenever we talk about finances, which he spends and I spend, we're both guilty. But whenever we try and talk about it to figure out, okay, how do we fix this? It's always my fault. So how do you, I hate talking finances. I hate paying bills. Like, I can't wait till I'm making enough money in the business where I don't have to stress anymore.
Okay, so very quickly, you know, this is what I do for a living. I talk to married couples, okay? So you got to be on the same team. past is a past. Fault, you know, we could go talking about blame and fault all day long. Here's the question. Do you want to spend your time blaming, and when I say each other, I'm not talking about you specifically, Valerie, but I'm just saying in general, do you want to spend time blaming each other, or do you want to team up with your significant other and figure out ways you can be debt-free and you can be a millionaire by the time you retire? And as both Jennifer and Hannah said, you know, you folks are in a prime place where you do have this business of your own. You do have this, even right now, if it's a little extra income coming in, that you can use that to your advantage to start building your financial independence. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, Hannah was saying that her last payment was $9,000. And I was thinking, I wonder how many people think they can't do that. Because that sounds like a lot, okay? I used to be in a position where that really wasn't a super lot of money for me. Not in that position anymore. It sounds like a lot for me, but I can tell you through experience that we're not even talking about making more money. We're talking about using the money that you use to pay bills to work for you instead of working for the bill collector for a change. Yeah, you know, I can't even begin to tell you, Valerie, I've started over a few times. Every time I start over, I go back to baby step one. Do I have that $1,000 in the account? If not, and I can squeeze just a couple drops of blood out of the stone, I'm going to start making that, putting that money aside. I do everything digitally. This will make some of y'all laugh. When Dave Ramsey started this, he talked about what he called the envelope method, and he talked about actually putting cash into envelopes. And I, you know, when I started this, I did that for a while. Now you've got banks, right? And honestly, any of these methods, even the method that Hannah was talking about that sounds like trying to break into Fort Knox to get at your money, if you want to get at your money, you're going to. You know, if those boots or, you know, that pair of pants or that new stereo system, you know, if those are important and you want to get your money and spend it, you're going to. So this does take a little bit of discipline, no matter what method you use. My bank account gives me 5 free checking accounts. Each one of those checking accounts I have listed as a, quote, envelope for something. Car repairs, entertainment account, groceries. Carrie and I have a system where once my money comes, or once our paychecks come in, she takes the amount of groceries we have budgeted for 2 weeks and moves it to a separate account so that I'm not even trying to keep up with what they're doing, what we're doing with groceries. It's just a bill that's already paid. Okay? Depending on how deep people want to go, I would be happy to get into how I budgeted and what I still budget. We can use made up figures. I can use somebody's figures if they're eager enough to actually want to work through their own budget. We can do a million different things like that. I am open. All I'm here to, the one thing I do want to stress, however, is I am not a financial expert. Please do not, you know, if you bring this to somebody who knows what they're doing with money, they may poke 1,000 holes in my theory. And that's great. I'm just telling you that I've been to the place where I almost achieved the second step a few times, had to, got taken back because of life's issues and had to do it again. But you know what? I know that every time, no matter what I face, every time I start, it's always going to be with the $1,000. And my goal to end up is to be a millionaire by the time I retire. I'm already 53 years old. If I can do it, you can definitely do it.
Yes, I love that. If you can do it, they can do it. That's like what we always say in this business. You know, it doesn't matter where you're at now. It's about where this journey is about to take you. I am excited, guys. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome. And we'll get way more in detail. If you guys have we can do separate Zooms every single week. Like if we just want to do every week, like a Zoom on this stuff where you guys can come to the table with questions that you have with specifics with what your experience in your life right now. We can set time aside for that for sure. So we can also have our weekly Zooms, geared towards business building tips like we usually do. And I know a lot of you had some very valid questions on the thread that Jen put out, and not all were addressed today because some of those do dive into step 2, step 3. I don't know how many steps he's got. I think he's got 7. So 7 guys. Yeah, I don't know. But we're going to go through it all. We're going to take you on this journey. We're going to do it together. And it's going to be liberating, like you said, but we've got to get off because it's 11:15. But thank you so much, Michael, for, taking your time to, just educate our team on this and give your personal experience and life's, work doing this for other people. And now you get to do it again with this awesome team that we have here. And your wife can be the one, signing those customers in the background and earning those fast starts for you. So yeah, any last words, Jen?
Just wanted to say, as we've been on here, Shannon and her husband figured out what they were going to cut out of their, what they could afford to go without, and put $328 into their emergency fund.
Ooh.
So just so excited. You know what? That's what we're all going to have to do, is make those tough decisions. Can you live without the hair extensions? Can you live without the, Chick-fil-A this month? So again, Shannon, so proud of you. Everyone else who's telling us already what cuts they're making so that they can get this fund going. I just love how serious everyone is taking this, and we're just gonna have so much fun celebrating everything.
Yes, I'm excited. All right, thank you again, everybody.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.